Hello, hello, hello. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. You can tell I'm starting from the reverse, not to morning, afternoon, evening. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. Of course, normally for owner we familiar with the reason we make with tell everybody morning, evening, because this is a live broadcast where they go around the world. And therefore, so we, na daytime now, but to some other part of the world, na night time. So we to win a good afternoon to some people, a good morning, some people, and a good evening. So to all of you, thanks for listening again today. And we'll get for talk about various interesting trending events where they take place in Sierra Leone. We never run short of news, some of which are important enough for discuss, some of which, in our opinion, we are not able to put with the rest of the others. Now, going directly to we platforms them. You know, we are carried on YouTube, we are carried on Facebook, we are carried on X, former Twitter. You know, and therefore, if you want for reach we, and you want to participate in the live broadcast, then three main sources here, then we'll be able to give you access to we. YouTube, Facebook, and X, go on VOS Television or vostelevision.com. You will be able to reach us. Then we'll get a radio station in Freetown also, for which you will get for download the VOS app for be able to reach that radio station, the 91.9 FM. As I always remind people, just don't dial 91.9 unless you have the app already downloaded, the VOS app. Otherwise, you may get 91.9, but you're not going to be the 91.9 we to look for. So download the VOS app first, and then try for reach 91.9 if you can listen to we over the radio. Okay? Go to the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store for download the app. The Google Play Store or the Apple App Store. Now there you go for download the app. Then we'll get what you call Twitch TV, where you go on VOS Television, you should be able to catch we too. Of course, on the telephone side, we get just one number, we're universal, we're not the WhatsApp number, we're not plus 1-343-997-5828, plus 1-343-997-5828. If I be able to reach me on WhatsApp. All right, the lines are always open as soon as we get started. So if something comes to mind, either of the current thing that we're talking about, or something that you may not have had time or the opportunity to talk about the last time, what is relevant to today's topics, you can call me and ask questions or make comments, you know, or at the top of the last broadcasting, not 2 months ago, but something where you probably one call will run out of time, or you were on hold too long. You still can call me for talk about that, as long as it's relevant to the topics of today. You're quite welcome to do that. Okay, the topics for today, basically. Now we want to talk about the Tripartite report recommendations, the electoral law changes, or the changes in the electoral law, and the Mano River Union borders, and of course the borders and the border dispute. So we want to talk about anything in there, you know. So with the Mano River Union border dispute or discussion or confrontations from time to time, we'll deal with what's really at stake. And may I put some subheadings then to that too, for say, have we been just irresponsible in taking care of such an important duty, or we just think, say, it's not necessary. So we'll try to talk about that. And so with that said, and we are not for all we say too long, because there is a whole lot for discuss. And so I will go to my co-host. We'll go, of course, who needs no introduction, but he go introduce himself, and then we'll just ask the control room when time is necessary to play whatever tapes. But the topics and the subtopics I will be dealing with, I mean, co-host Mr. Mengot Nango announced them, and they will just go right along. As soon as I know me and Mr. Mengot, they will make a presentation on some of the issues, yeah. He knows a whole lot about governmental operation, you know, and parliamentary activities, because this is something he has experience with, because he worked in such a setting in England for quite a while. So he's by far more informed, or might very well be the most informed person about some of the activities they are know of. So he'll be making more of give information, or we'll just try to inject your own opinion and your own analysis of. So to you, Mr. Mengot.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Shillon, and Fambulem in a good evening, good afternoon, or good morning, Usaina day. I mean, in Salion, waiting with the can talk about today, and I think the way they trend in social media, and some of them here not to one of thing them, like continuity. The whole of last week, we get situation where, first of all, before we go, we just celebrate Eid, and then we wish all them people the way, keep the faith, and actually go through this 30 days of fasting. So let God accept all them prayers and then wishes for Sierra Leone. And before I go, Sierra Leone very unique, because we say there was a competition for we politicians them for actually go pray in different parts of the country. Whether you are Christian or Muslim, we're not able to tell now, because we will come off for we at Christmas. We join both Christian and Muslim, and we look forward to actually celebrating Easter when Christ be rise. But despite all this togetherness, oneness, uniqueness, we still get a divide. We get a divide between the two main political parties them, the APC and the SLPP. We also get a divide between the one the way they rule we, and we when are the people that we form the nation. Regardless of who say you did. Because like what they broadcast, so this is a global village. We control the Canada, the main host the America, me the UK, and then we get people in a salon, we get in Australia where they listen to it. So let's start first by the impasse. What do I mean by impasse? The two main political parties them, they may not go under the agreement of national unity. Because although they talk about peace, we talk about national cohesion. Even we see where the president gave in speech during Eid. The president are Catholic, but we see him, he dressed in the attire, he invites Muslims in a state lodge, they all go pray. That shows a oneness. If it can actually do anything, and the politicians can actually create that unity there, when it comes to actually marking important religious festives. Why will they get this divide? We get this tripartite where some man they say gentleman's agreement. Whatever way you can interpret them. We don't say tripartite, it means three. We get our own view, say others should be involved. But now let's start with the APC party. First, them come out say, they agree say the man way for take care of the election. When are the ECSL Commissioner. Because the ECSL na Electoral Commission of Sierra Leone. And according to the laws them, the ECSL Act, our constitution, we get commissioners then for each region. Because we get 5 regions now in a salon. You get the East, you get the North, you get the Northwest, you get the South, then you get the Western region. But then you get one person, when I the Agbagba, when I the commissioner, where APC then say they not agree with the appointment. They mean say unless the president remove him from office, even though he don't go through the constitutional process, where they say it's acceptable, but it's not in the unit and oneness of democracy and the same national peace and cohesion. So we can always like for put evidence before the public. So for start this program and to see what is at stake with all this thing. Because this tripartite recommendation, it not only talk about constitution, it talk about other acts of parliament, like the Public Elections Act. It paramount. We will look at so many things inside it where it relates to law. He also referred to the Cyber Act. Then again, a serious thing. He talk about definition. We don't get some crimes there now within our cyber law, where then crimes and they are very ambiguous. And the tripartite be make recommendations, say, we can forget clarity. Now then my colleague, where in a legal man, go look at some of the implications of the law they have put, because it will affect not only people and behavior during the election, but even before the election. We see they already charge some people them under their acts and they. So let's start with this video. We talk about the APC then put their stance. They'll go analyze them in the context of the tripartite agreement and the agreement of national unity. So control room will be very happy for set the space and the scene. Let play that video there for we let all my area waiting at the APC they own Tina Dembele.
All right, we don't see the All People's Congress when I don't boycott parliamentary sitting. You know, if you say that's go debar against the cohesion of this nation.
Not go debar cohesion. In fact, we want national cohesion for happen.
But people go vex pound and say, why won't they hold the nation, the parliament?
We not hold the nation to ransom.
But twice now in 1 month.
Now, I think say the reason for a boycott is justifiable. Now, even if they want table the constitutional amendment bill, if I go through some procedures, including for Gazette and twice. Now, I read the letter where Honorable Osman Timbo writes to the Attorney General and Minister of Justice.
I read that too.
Yes. I read the letter where Timbo writes. They tell and say the law very clear. It is say when you go to section 108 of the Constitution, it make an express provision for the alteration of the Constitution. Specifically, section 108(2)(a) provides a bill for an act of Parliament under that section shall not be passed by Parliament unless before the first reading of the bill in Parliament, that text of the bill is published in at least 2 issues of the Gazette. So if they not go through them procedures they want to breach the law for go table something, I think say APC get the right for protest. But the reasons for the boycotts, I think say it is an opportunity. They say a man's best servant is himself. We brothers away in a parliament, the Honorable Timbo, we don't write this letter. The Honorable Abdul Kagbona, the leader of the opposition, one part them for come talk the reason why really then they boycott them citizens and they me don't read the letter with Timbo writes, but then go in the position for tell you because now then they in parliament.
Well, in this boycott, what they say now in the arrest of Lansana Dumbuya, where we see the parliament say they know they go nas.
No, we're not boycott. We're not being boycott. We've been threatened for boycott.
Okay.
We're not boycott. The tell we been the CID. We forget one important sitting. Now in we can as CID Abdul Kagbo take an interview, grant an interview, say if they not release Lansana, they not go continue for go sit down for discuss issues of parliament, then go boycott. But then be release them na parliament, then be release them as CID, and so then continue issues of parliament.
And the recent one again, where you wanna say wanna not they go na parliament and end up for release.
Yes, of course. On ten we too don't try to avoid Elizabeth now this country. We all don't born here, don't many here. Some people don't travel, go do some studies, do some business, but come back home. This necessarily one thing we will not encourage at all. Now for let APC take the law now we earn. If we not boycott parliament, in fact, not a parliament no more for boycott, for boycott governance entirely. Now they not sit at home protest. But we not go say law assemble everybody in a street law can demonstrate. If we get demonstration now they take place, you say no go Kanaya. You know go able to walk. Me not for the able drive, you know, for Kaya this morning. The street then go be barricaded, business don't for go. Even me pick work and drop na school and not for able to drop na school, the country go come at a standstill. So the only way for protest now through the means then they for let government know say what then they do not correct. And I think say if we continue for do the same things then I mean governance go be stalled. So we don't want to let anything and they continue. We go cooperate with governments we are necessary. But let government also know say the opposition getting right and enough for the treaty any kind of way.
All right, APC come to power as one of the party in waiting. Should you come to power, una go accept, let them replicate this kind of holding the nation. That
for all the nation, for let SLPP replicate.
yes.
First of all, the circumstance not go arise. We not go do anything. We go compel them for do that day. Okay. We not go can do retributive justice. We not go can let's say we do what and do turn and give. We not go do it. Nah. In fact, some of we not go agree. I mean, we go govern a decent state, a decent government with decent individuals. Anything we for say SLPP be don't do this Lord one. We some of we not go encourage Dandy. For say SLPP be pull 10 of the members of parliament. Law say can pull SLPP be impose speaker. Law say can impose speaker. SLPP be do midterm census, law say can do midterms. All that they go make the country not they go before. We not go do that thing and day. And if we not do that thing and day, then SLPP not go get no reason for boycott parliament. For say SLPP we can amend the constitution and put bad laws. Law we say can law amend and back law do laws the way they favor. We not go do that day. So if we not do that day, then the country go on well. There will be no reason for boycott.
Okay, the reason why I play this video, I just want to put it in context so my colleague will comment. This was how it all started. Because this was watching the APC side, the minister, and let me give this credit to Unity Broadcasting when they do this recording. They may say they're not a boycott, they not call people in a treat. But last week, we don't see say the APC don't put press release back say they don't still not go allow them people them for go to parliament. They not go allow them councillors them and district commissioner for work, so they don't go out completely. And before they may say the reason now because of the way where the president pick the electoral commissioner. But then for a press release, as he said, they add other things and they add issues for deal with. One we want to talk about today, where we look as a way forward, when our recommendation 20, we talk about parliament and for create that committee. They also mention things like the high cost of living and fuel price. So they not actually amplify then demands them. But at the same time, then they talk say they want to get engagement with the government. Remember say when they set this tripartite committee or get the reports, you can get the steering committee and you get the secretariat. Recently, the man will be the lead the government side. The chief minister say the work of the steering committee done. Now the secretariat will continue. And the secretariat themselves don't do their review. We been get for no say. Most of the team them now work in progress. So with this boycott and this issue, now APC don't say the next step, then go get the people them for support them in a massive protest. We get problem. So how for breaking this impasse between the two is what we can discuss now, and we will throw some light on that. So before I go any further, I'll hand over to my colleague. We go able rub much on this shifting the goalpost where we think say the APC they do. Because first they may ask for one thing. The first boycott now for let them free the Secretary General. We still they go court. They not free him. The second one, immediately after they free the Secretary General, the President now appoints Edmond Alpha. Then say they don't want to unless the President pull him. But there are ways and statutory powers them where the President gets, where they not deny. And also, the situation will go arise for let and remove Edmond Alpha. So over to you, sir. What thing you take before we go to this whole business of agreements, law reform? Because law remind people and say, not to the tripartite agreement get reform of several laws. You get constitutional amendment law. You get law for do with the Electoral Public Elections Act. You got also law for do with the the PPLC, Political Party Act. They talk about creating new laws and a lot of things there. It's all a mismatch and wishy-washy. So how do we put it together? We'll go bring them people there together and the way forward with honesty and sincerity. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mengot. As I always can say, to me, the lack of sincerity in trying to move this country forward, because when people talk about cohesion, togetherness, unity, that doesn't necessarily mean we cannot disagree, because much of man, we're not so God make we. We all cannot see things from the same perspective and get the same view. If so, there will be no progress in life. What leads to progress, a lot of times, like competition, disagreement, disagreement to disagree, or agreement to disagree, then can only lead to progress. But we behave like for say, now Sierra Leone should be run in such a way that the government and the people and the opposition must see eye to eye, and basically trying to force certain standard on the people, even if we think say it's not justified. So this consistent preaching, requesting, asking for unity, togetherness, it must be put into perspective. Let us know, what do people have in mind when they say that? Are they saying we all should be seeing things the same way? I mean, in law, they say reasonable men can differ. So why are we so scared of differences of opinion? Because that leads to paranoia, and it seems like that's where we are now. Now we state of affairs in the country, because now the government has reached a point whereby even to discuss things of national concern, we're not even talking about demonstration. 2-3 people, let me then call meeting and want to discuss that, like kush tension and the police, they interfere, they go, they stop them. A flagrant violation of constitutional guarantees of freedom of association, freedom of expression, and the police, then the police that is meant to enforce we laws, then they become the number one breakers of we laws. And then they do so with impunity, in the sense that then they act as if they are above the law. The police do not think themselves subject to the same laws than what Parliament they pass, or the same laws than what the Constitution they talk about. This is just a mind-boggling to me, because there are activities, and we must comment on anything today, because we cannot wait until it affects we personally or someone who we love one day before we comment. You know, you take for instance, there is a thing about this Zainab Sharif being detained by the CID. Somebody needs to explain to me, because we don't say if we call CID, I doubt if they will come. I want to know, how did they get that power? Whose part of the Constitution give them the power for say that then for determine bail? Or how can the system be such that the police could determine bail? Shouldn't it be a magistrate? And then because he gave an opportunity to the accused or the defendant to be able to request bail and ask why, if be free to go, that he not pose any threat to society, there is no risk that he or she might flee. But then you left that power, they will give that power to the police, and everything's so awkward. And we're not. My point is, and I'll keep saying this, we can get all the glorious idea about what we want the Australian to become in our mind. But if we refuse to do what it takes to make acquire our dream, it will never work. You know, because we cannot comfortably sit down and allow this practice. It's gone on too long from government to government. Not only the BO government, the Nkrumah government did this. You know, the the Tijan Kaba government did this. I remember where a lawyer Magai came in office. The Attorney General then, the late Mr. Berawa, can just find a reason, let FBI and CIA then go arrest them. You know, aren't you seeing something wrong with that? How can the system function if we not get for infringe and deprive people of the constitutional right, just the right to assemble, just the right to express? And the other thing, we still, because we lawyers are not they argue, they know they raise constitutional issues too much back home. Then they pan this act of Parliament statutory issues. But this all statutes. This again, the lawyers are not they challenge statutes passed by Parliament on constitutional grounds, because Parliament does from time to time pass laws that will not meet constitutional muster. Parliament they do that quite a bit, and nobody's seems to challenge them. The premise upon which we system functions is defective. That they will for start. Tripartite people in the Western world not get for. The reason why make we learn book, then take Western education go to we, for which one of our pride now we gold trophy that one day. We say, oh, Salomon land book. We say, oh, you go Miltimaga, go Frabe College, you go Jala. We don't think anybody goes to the institution there and come out stupid. Okay? And we will come abroad. Now, we can land book now. So I don't understand, when we go back home now, we want to throw all that aside, all them values here, all them virtues here. We want to throw all of that aside for just past matters of community. One of me disappointment to this day is the politicizing of the legal profession back home, the Bar Association. It serves no useful purpose. No useful purpose. It is beyond me how educated people can look at such a renowned professional organization and decide to politicize them with no beneficial results, and we feel that's good, you know. So now we find ourselves in the same situation. What would they talk about now? You get the opposition leader. I mean, in England with the fella. How many times we sit in the arrest opposition leader in England? I must say we follow the American system, you know, about constitutional issues. How many times would they receive and arrest opposition people? And even though, as things are now, we'll get the situation, we'll get the president who will behave somewhat lawlessly. You know? But we're not, it not seem like we make the effort necessary to move the country forward. Because we keep trying so hard to keep the country stagnant. And everybody suffers. You know? So the Zainab Sheriff situation, other thing we should be proud of. The lawyer Doumbouya situation, other thing we should be proud of. But then same practices here where other government in camp. So you would think when people are in the opposition, I know, first of all, I don't trust opposition because everything now the current government do in terms of suppression of constitutional rights, they were dead set against it. Everything we then criticize, then they'll get out of control, far worse than which they criticized before. But if that's the trajectory we're going to go, we will never see progress. We will never see progress. And this idea, I'm telling people, until I take this power from the police, where they are at liberty to just detain people under the false pretense of an invitation, which I think any lawyer should go to court and challenge the literal, because I think that of itself is constitutional. You cannot invite me. I'm an invitee. I come for talk to you, then you say you detain me. That's unlawful. I think that's unconstitutional and unlawful. And I've been encouraging lawyers, take some of these matters, Mr. Doumbouya, my colleague, you get the JFK, you get big name lawyer, I think the former Mr. Chernoba, I mean, Cherry Coco, and I'm sure you get other lawyers in there. What are all these guys doing? Making very little of the system, the legal system. Because some of the issues here, like like me co-host just said, if the president appointed someone that the APC, and why is it just the APC? Where are the small parties then? The small parties are not looked and they even fed back, then seem for accept. And I've always argued that unless they revitalize and reactivate the small parties, then the democracy for Sierra Leone is dead. We will never, ever go forward. The small parties make a big difference because they become the balance of power between the big guys then. And one day, some of them parties, then they will expand and rise to the level of being a powerhouse. But when the small party then just sit down now, you know, then just accept this as, just them being kicked to the side and they not do anything. All of that collectively is dangerous for the country. Because we know, say, anybody when an astute political observer in Sierra Leone, we do know that these two parties see everything. I don't say they don't foresee some things, but everything is there in the lens from standpoint of power. They just want power. You know, they hear much about aspirational stuff them, like vision for the country, you know, by the opposition for tell we, waiting them, what they feel wrong. And we don't get passionate leaders then. This is the other thing. Politics need passion sometimes. Put your heart and soul. You need leaders who can drive a crowd, who can impress. I know I use the wrong word, make them not say, but somebody who can make people and get excited for do the right thing. You know? And then Australia now would not go to the point of excitement is being used synonymously with incitement. You know, we need to stop volunteer because we are just like, so when you build a house, you put the wrong foundation. I mean, they don't have to be surprised if you begin to get cracks as the house is being built. So this was system. The tripartite thing I've always raised issue about. This agreement should not even be a tripartite issue. Okay? Because we cast aside all the political parties then, we get non-affected party them as one of the trio we become the tripartite. People them we whatever conclusion or decision is made, they're not going to affect them because they're not part of the situation at all. The small parties will come along and get a common interest. Then just allow themselves to be quick to decide. They're not going to court. Okay, people will say, oh, Mr. Shillon, they talk about the court is weak. I may agree. But let the record reflect that when I put on the right foot forward, when I give it a good fight. But you cannot convince me that you put up a good fight where you avoid the court completely. You know, when you avoid the court completely, you not take any matters to court, you not do anything. Now, this thing about opposition trying to boycott the government because of the appointment of this ECSL commissioner, there may be merits to it, except that I find the opposition, their union position weak. Don't wait until, I know, again, this is another thing. Sometimes maybe I'm just that naive. The process was being played in real time about the appointment of Mr. Everybody, we know what may happen. Anybody in our opposition, everybody in the government knew this man would have been appointed from 6 months ago, since last year. Well, why on which did that happen? Were there no other way? And if now that he has been appointed, and if we do not get any constitutional basis for challenging the president, okay, then maybe tactically speaking, without any violence, boycotting might be effective. Okay? But otherwise, I think injunctive relief will have been okay if we not get legal grounds for oppose in appointment. And it can be legal grounds on the basis of the president has not complied with the rules to the procedures. Then technical issues they could have postponed in appointment for years. But lawyers are not taking advantage of all these things back home. And this reactive practice, they help. Because now when you see how the woman framed the question just now, the reporter, you say, well, if the APC encourage people for boycott, that may seem like we're not being, or they're not helpful promote a cohesive society. This idea of togetherness. But that's one thing I want people to know. Togetherness doesn't mean we cannot disagree. We have to see everything eye to eye. I think the main rule of thumb here should be a matter of civility. If APC and it bothers me that even APC themselves, they even afraid for tell people and for go out in the street for demonstrate because it might be misconstrued. They might turn into another thing. Because I heard the gentleman, Mr. What's his name? Mr. Peyamba, Mr. Minkailu Peyamba say,
Minkailu Mansari.
No, not to Mansari, Peyamba, see, the gentleman, the video just,
Yeah, Minkailu, Peyamba,
Minkailu Peyamba. He say because streets will have been blocked, people will not have gone. Well, it shouldn't be that. Peaceful demonstration, people need to be emphasized. And when people are going on the street, they should be told, party supporters them for tell them, look, the law protects the right for demonstrate, but the law also protects the right of others who are not participants or not sympathizers of una cause. The law also protects them too. The law also protects property and lives. So freedom to go out and let the government know, say there's some discontentment, doesn't give you permission to destroy properties or cause any physical damage to other people. I think that should be part of the mantra all the time. Let people understand what demonstration means. Demonstration cannot or should not be used synonymously with violence. But now people are terrified, So people even the opposition is being very careful not to tell people and to go out and demonstrate. But demonstration out there is a fundamental constitutional right given to people. Now, it's good. Maybe it's wise that they want people to just stay home as an indication of demonstration. But all these are the things we should be working on. But I had said 2, 3 things. Time will bear me out. The Constitution of Sierra Leone is badly written. Any constitution will say the president of the country is a member of parliament. That's madness. That's insanity. The president is not a member of parliament. So we in countries say president and parliamentarian. Then I've always also pointed out the president, they make appointments, get the ability for fire and hire the clerk of parliament. It shouldn't be. So this we bookman and we put then this document together, what we call constitution. They got it wrong right from the start. So even when they talk about tripartite, you know, the tripartite should even suggest, say, the way that foundation of a constitution is wrong. Because how are we going to avoid conflict of interest and corruption if a president is considered a parliamentarian or a member of parliament? And isn't that even inconsistent with the system? Because the way the election laws are written, the president is the president because he was elected a president. So how does he become a parliamentarian? Is there any provision for that in the law? Or that's just a broad statement being put there? So the lawyers have to challenge that, let the court strike that to start with. Because it makes no sense. So until these things are taken care of, we will keep spinning with wheels. You know, it's like when you get stuck in the mud, the wheel they turn, but you don't go anywhere because we are not taking things seriously. Lawyers need to argue more constitutional violations by parliament, by the police, so when I can bring an end to this. I mean, it's not pleasure. I don't know Ms. Zainab Sharif. I know she has any political views of hers, but I think she has a right to be protected by the same law we call the Constitution. I don't know Mr. Doumbouya, but shouldn't he have the right to express himself? Why should it be a violation if you make statements considered to be disrespectful to the president? We should discourage that. We should discourage the president being disrespected, but we also shouldn't lose sight of the fact that in case somebody step out of line and say something disrespectful, I don't know if there's anything in the law that says you cannot make disrespectful statements of the president, you know, but people should be discouraged. Don't start calling the president, you know, names or this and that. May not get no problem with that. But the thing of arresting people and locking them up, and this all at the whim of the police, they're not going for cite. Then when they cite laws, now bad laws like this cyber law, where then they try for dilute or misinterpret, and there are no challenges in the court system as to whether the police are applying the cyber law properly, constitutionally. So these are we'll get a lot of problems, folks. We'll get a lot of problems. So we might tripartite all these things. We will get the same thing with the talk about the next 5 years. Election will come and go because we're not serious about making laws that will withstand the test of time. You know, they see the sincerity. You know, they see the commitment. You know, now President Biona is the best person for do most of the changes here and encourage most of the changes here because this is my last term. You know, now for make sure say things, whether the mistakes that we make or whether an advantage that we take of the system because of the way the laws are written, for say, yeah, I took advantage of this law, but I don't think it's good for the country, and try to encourage Parliament for making a little more objective. But maybe we're not reached that level there yet. But country, you see ample evidence, country is secondary. The power everybody to reach for. So with that said, like I say in the beginning, I just can forgive me comments them because I don't think we do the right thing. And all this emphasis on cohesion, you know, for cohesion, not to anything for the emphasize it, because it's not necessary. We're not such a divided country. So for people and for the preach that we love each other, and tribalism is not a major issue. There are some selfish politicians then who go and mislead the people in up country for make people feel one way or the other. But other than that, I think we're a very good, friendly, peace-loving country. So nobody not going to begin preach cohesion to we. I think then our DNA, we're good people. If you're not Chimini, you go to Minde line, you're treated well. If you're not Minde, you go to Chimini line, nobody attacks you because you're not Minde. So we are treating things, they are talking about things we wish could be the case for justify some of we deviation from the reality. Otherwise, this is not necessary. But so that said, let me go back to Mr. Mengot and just make it continue with some of the things we tell we.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. I know you have your views on this, but for put people in straight back, look forward to the last APC statement, press release. Now, let's examine the demands one by one. Because they said on Toxi, the president not do anything unconstitutional. But let's check the first demand they make, removal of Edmond Alpha. The president said in go through constitutional means, and in the constitution, when you look at section 32 of the constitution, it talk about how you remove an electoral commissioner. Subsection 8 of section 32 of the constitution say a member of the electoral commission may be removed from office by the president for inability to discharge functions of his office, whether arising from infirmity of mind or body or any other cause or for misbehavior. Then secondly, subsection 9 say, a member of the Electoral Commission shall not be removed from office except in accordance with the provisions of this constitution. So now the president now for remove the Electoral Commissioner because it just appoint him. And when you don't appoint him, he say in they go according to the constitution. And the only way it can remove them, law remind viewers them back. Now, because it get for come from infirmity of mind, where me say something is small, or it gets illness where impede her for doing work, or misbehavior. But when it say misbehavior, this is where I should talk. The constitution, we can check them. It's not clear because if you say misbehavior can mean so many things, right? It can relate to other acts. So for now, I don't think say the president go back down in removing Edmond Alpha. So now looking forward, how do we go forward from here? Because the APC couch other things then. They now mention, if you listen to that video clip, the APC MP when it talk about gazetting the constitutional amendment. Alpha Timbo or La Timbo been challenged the Attorney General. But Attorney General said been show say he been gazette that bill there twice or intention to take the bill to Parliament. He even give the dates. I think so the second time we do have in December. But if both sides are saying they want to talk, the chairman of the steering committee from the president's side, instead on talk say they don't work London, how do we go forward? All this mistake, lawyers they don't talk, Mr. said don't talk, is that when them people here go get the agreement, the two big parties them, then get a recommendation them, Parliament not be involved. But there's a recommendation where to me I feel to say that the way forward, if both sides are sincere, even the president, and because me in a post way, I always believe in Parliament for being the leading part of the three arms of government. Whenever we get a stalemate, when are them for stepping. But APC don't boycott Parliament. But let's go back to recommendation 20 where they mention now. Because them in don't talk say, Abdulkagbo, when are the leader, be right to the speaker say, me ask them for bring this tripartite reports to Parliament, where they not bring them. But who said they make the mistake, as you say? The report was forwarded to the president. Ideally at the time, president take and go cabinet. Cabinet should have instructed the Attorney General, a Minister of Justice, with the help of the law department, for draft a bill where for go Parliament on this tripartite, so it becomes part of the law. People like when a lawyer don't argue the same thing. Notably, Augustine Sembe Mara, he said it. But all is not lost. For a matter of sincerity, let us go back to recommendation 20. Me feel saying that the way forward. What's in recommendation 20 say? It say, therefore create a dedicated oversight committee in Parliament comprising representatives from all political parties. In this case, now two political parties get. But we also get another group, what we call our caucus of parliamentary commission, the paramount chiefs, because they are not party members. They're there to represent their people. So this is another thing. We get a convention where say the paramount chiefs will always side with the government. One of the two when Mr. One ask, are they there to rubber stamp what in government say, or are they there to represent their people? Because on confirmed rumor they say, some reports say, the very paramount chief they say, they don't want the PR system. They say they don't want the PR system. But since there's a stall in the constitutional amendment bill, where we'll come to next, we don't know waiting they report and they, if they go test on a Parliament. So me think say waiting both sides for do. Because Parliament they in recess. Therefore go this week. Let them commit, and the president being a member of Parliament, which my co-host say is not supposed to be. But since I saw the law say, let's sit down with the opposition. Because in speech during it, he said still one talk. Let them agree, say, well, that recommendation 20, let them start with them. Say, if they go back in Parliament, Parliament go set up this standing committee. And this standing committee on electoral matters, for review all the electoral cycle, look at the preparedness, and guide the legislative reform. So you see, this legislative reform, for me, you get one, the constitutional amendment bill, where I go talk to people and update them waiting on Apple now. You get two who go talk in details, some key recommendations for reform, and then they relate to the Public Elections Act and some other laws them where they get for reform, things for do with the Police Act 1965, because even the recommendation talk about the neutrality of the security forces them. They say they don't review them, and the police don't say they don't change their name now from a force for good. They are no longer a force, but they're still acting as a force because of some of the things that we do. They're now a service. So how do they become neutral? Because you get a part now the agreement we talk about election security, when the police, the army, the Office of National Security, all the people that will come for protect the rights of all who want express wish for representing people. So if they can start by getting this commitment for say let them bring that recommendation there. Because when they bring that recommendation there, when they get that standing committee there, the recommendation say it should be headed by the opposition. But even though, according to parliamentary rules and regulation, the government will get majority members, and make sure they draft them carefully. They say that committee there should be headed by the opposition. I feel to say if they can do that and make commitment, let the MPs then go back, let the opposition go back to parliament. That is my own view. Because staying out, not to do any good. Because there are lots of things in there where depend on parliament, even the constitutional amendment bill. So I want to stop there, and what in the standing committee means, it means that the committee it go implement certain things then, because recommendation then at the tripartite agreement we say the ECSL, when at the Electoral Commission of Sierra Leone, for the meet with the political party caucus on a monthly basis, and then for the provide minutes of their reports then they report then they in this standing committee will measure the sincerity and purpose of ECSL. We also see say the ECSL Commissioner don't write letter to the APC and say in invite them, let them go talk. But they don't ignore that request there. Then say also they don't go talk to the chief minister when the government input for lead their own negotiation team. Although that steering committee there, the mandates not done. But let the president, as the leader of the executive and father of the nation, after all, now him being start this process. Because after the election, it been talk say, for let them review the electoral reform system and management system. Where initially we want to give our responsibility there to the vice president, where I think said the American ambassador at the time said no, there will be an element of bias. Now from there now, we get this agreement of national unity. So for go back to the drawing board, let both sides agree say, Parliament for be supreme, because now then they make law, now they get for amend the law, now they get for do oversight, and let they agree say, Parliament for make a commitment, the speaker for make a commitment, say, Ingo make sure say, then set up that standing committee there, when I go monitor the whole process. So let's stop here. If you want to comment, then I will talk about progress on the constitutional amendment bill And then some of key things that were there in the Public Elections Act, we also need serious consideration, because not just the Constitution. Over to you, sir.
Yes, sir. Just very briefly, the other thing that confuses me is this thing about the Tripartite agreement. They talk about all the political parties, it says. In actuality, we get more than APC and SLPP as political parties, as things are right now.
Yeah.
So APC and SLPP acting consistent with the law right now. How did they become the sole spokesperson? When the Tripartite is talking, even with the Tripartite agreement, there are some violations or flaws of the way the agreement is written. Because the Tripartite, they talk about all political parties. As far as we know, the last I heard was that we get at least about 6 or more political parties in Sierra Leone, even though
14
Okay.
registered.
Okay, we have 14 registered political parties. So now you see, we are not even in compliance, because this is not the Tripartite thing say. We just take the two big political parties and just take matters into their hands and shut down the other ones then. Where are the lawyers? Can they go to court and just and compel compliance with the proposed agreement or the agreement that then say political parties, they don't say APC and SLPP? Okay? And why aren't the political parties themselves going to court? Again, my argument is very little advantage is being taken by responsible parties of the legal system. I agree, there is hardly any trust. I agree that people think that, well, the courts, and again, that the whole system set up, the courts are part of the executive, and therefore, the president has so much power that judges don't have that courage to be objective in a decision. I can understand all of that, but that's what we have right now. So you just can't throw in the towel and play dead. You just have to go to the court system and say, hey, there is some violation here. With the talk about political parties, but APC and SLPP come forward and say they are the political parties, but not so the agreement say. You know? So there are many, many things that the lawyer then can play a role, the political parties then can play a role, APC can play a role. They will not say they are really aspiring to become a viable. Because right now, as I see them, they're not a viable alternative to SLPP. I cannot see APC doing any better than SLPP right now if SLPP were to collapse today in government. Because I don't see any good idea, any progressive idea, any fresh ideas at all. So that I can't comment on anything, because they are waiting much too long.
I just want to make a clarification.
Go ahead.
The clarification is that the tripartite agreement, right, now between APC and SLPP, and as a result, I'll come to that. Yeah,
that's my point. What makes the other one irrelevant? The other party is irrelevant.
Now I'll come to that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
For me, also I feel to say we the citizens have been shortchanged, because tripartite not 3 sides. The third one way for make the third part on the tripartite. Now the people then will be involved in the elections monitoring process, where now representatives of like the EU, representative of ECOWAS, representative of Commonwealth, representative of African Union, and then other main partners them like the British High Commission, the American Embassy, So they're all clustered into one as one homogeneous partner, which I think that was where the mistake was made. Because to date, they say they don't do their report. The citizens of Salon not ever know what's in them people here their own report. Because they orchestrate them. Now, when it comes to the other political parties, we get what you call APA. All Political Parties Association. When are they, the other parties than they. And now bring one anomaly. When the president say in the consult, he's saying consult all registered political parties for appoint Mr. Edmond Alpha. He said 12 of them parties then they, including the SLPP, endorse in appointments. Now only 2. So, how come the recommendations them, which I'm supporting your view of the tripartite, the other parties they're not involved? On one situation, you bring them in for justify your decision. Say in democracy, majority carries the vote. 12 of them agree with you. But are they party to this agreement? That is what you're saying, which is disservice to the people of Sierra Leone. To me, I think that is one of the biggest flaws in this whole process. Because the same political party them, we don't go endorse this appointment, we give legitimacy to the president's appointment. Now the same political party, then they shortchange by the agreement. Because the 2 big parties, they don't say, and get a recommendation where say, any party will not win seat, either at local level or national level for 2 years, then for deregister them. So it's like what you can say now England is turkeys voting for Christmas because no say na Christmas and they kill turkey. So something where they're affecting her, and I don't go vote against them because this 2023 election, they don't get any seats, none of them. I think said C for C get 1 or 2. Not C for NGC get 1 or 2 ward councillor, but C for C is almost out. Now, another key issue, while we go on the recommendation, before I go into that, let's talk about one of the things that where they stall now. Because since we get the constitutional amendment bill, we don't get a privilege.
Mr. Menga,
yeah, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, go ahead. Thought for 1 second. Let me just take a call. Hold your thoughts. Hello, caller. What's your name? Inside the call from?
Yes. Nami again. For the call from Leicester. On a good evening. No, thank you.
Hello, Mr. Mustafa. Thank you.
Anytime where I really want to talk about them political party there, I would like for come in because we don't forget the argument.
All right.
Under normal circumstances, it's wrong to ignore them. But inside alone, those smaller political parties are not political parties for a change or for partake in government. Now for them pocket them, they don't prove them to be over and over. Even the time where APC within a power, Mohamed Bangura, Naim began one UDM, Naim the whole and school back. There are a lot of more of those where we don't manifest this thing. Now, before this election came, 2023, then they use as say ECSL they do correct thing because we get majority of political parties them. Any decision where government take or ECSL take, then they fall because then they give them money for them. Even if Maui don't die, so Prince Coca, he say in way the turn back now host if I go tell human which he out now for if not one back rest if not like out up. When they talk about them people like that, make the car inside because these are not political party. Charles Magai, in particular, be there against. Now because they say the man sick, Now party do industry Edmond Alpha. Then people are if they're not serious people, somebody will get that kind of ethical issues for good change number by election. Then go allow them if they're not serious political party them. No. Yes, I understand the argument. But they don't disagree with the election result. Now, if it's not, then disagree with the election result. We all man losing now, so it be. They say the election, they congratulate the president, they congratulate them. So based on that, these people are not political parties. They're not they for anybody other than for make them give money. Let it, money pass. Now because inside corruption they happen, they're not going to tell you say or they're going to make videos say we give money. But money they pass. If the parliament and saloon, APC they come and don't see they hit themselves with SLPP, so they go vote for which SLPP one time because money pass. We cannot just see those things happening, but they're happening. So what are they trying to talk now? Yeah? Then party then day where that 12 ball wait na upper. The term where they form COP, where they make momentum. Now I mean the government may come for this month to COP. They come, they say let them go to upper. Because now the upper, now they don't get them all in one bulk. We then just say everything to government, anything about government they say yes. So now the reason that way they always talk about them. These are not advocates for them people. Yeah. Because then people are now money they look for. Then people have to continue for put this country behind. Only party and they encourage them. If they were no say na political party them, then they object to the current ECSL executive people who did it. Because now they make sure say they do even when they talk about the PR, they don't apply the PR. They say the number of votes, it go take say 11%. Who tell us in 11%? In Pujahu or bond, or let me say bond. Now force it rise for that, but now force it the threshold for be 25%. Because now force it it. But just go make a blanket. You say make then people don't do all them the barud and they will not talk nothing. When I say when I support them. And now government they depend this contest for kind of dirty person for good putana, una go contest, una go approve and say okay. I know kill for them people business. Secondly, just briefly because of time, this thing when I talk about tripartite, I want to make you know say government don't get any intention for implement those things they want to talk about. If they get that intention, now 2 years they come so from when they finish that talk. Now when they go even a parliament itself, they change a lot of those things from the agreement. So it means they get for force government any way we even force government for abide by those things there so that election will come at this country. We don't out Alala again. We don't tire with that because the bottom line here is both parties they don't need that power. They don't even provide water, the most basic. They cannot. They don't even get plan about that. So if people they don't get water for drink, they don't get food for eat, they don't get medicine if they're sick. Why don't they give them peace? Please you can give to them. But no, you don't want to give. You want me to people Alala all the time for your comfort. Make you continue for the thief money, then give big salary for making life the advance. What the other people, the local people, the life then they go beyond. So this is that I want to about that. Government don't get any intention because they know say if they make this thing the way they don't go make sure now that table, the likely chance of them going out of office is big. So they don't go want to do them. All what the president may talk say, oh, they can't do this, government will cry. Now because that thing they be one for people that come to the governance. We see the no kinds of governance. You see the reality is that private jet why they use them. Will ask me question. Just know say why are they use private jets where the country not get money? So they're not going to do them. All the bad things they don't do, they don't want to hold them accountable. Even when they go to jail because they broke the election laws. Abbas money for go jail because of all those illegal parliamentary and we put they all they get problem. That's why they're not going to implement those things. This thing about accountability and people must stand up for more accountability in the country. And that's what I end up. So thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mustafa. And I don't disagree so much. I think we'll have a look at the broader picture. Yeah, then small political parties then they might not be serving a useful purpose in a sense. But the law, again, me doesn't argue the law, compliance with the law. The law says that people or the Constitution allow multi-party system. So if one part decides, say, okay, they go manipulate the system by supporting some smaller political parties, then for take them position, I don't think because of that we will fail to look at the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is, are the smaller political parties serving a useful purpose? Or do we agree with the two big parties then that the other ones then should be non-existent? You know, when you look at the bigger picture, I take the position that regardless of the purpose for which these parties were formed, as long as they meet the threshold, or they not forget about the threshold, as long as they meet the requirements that said they are a political party, they should be recognized as such. It's like when you form a corporation. You might have formed multiple corporations then because you want to take advantage of the law. But it's a different thing when it gets to that point, they foresee, well, that corporation there was formed because of X. But as far as we know, legally, then small political parties here are legitimate political parties. Now, I'm not getting a dispute with you position that they are being probably paid, financed, encouraged not to serve in the national interest, but for serve in their own selfish interest. All of that may be true. So that's where we genius come into play. How do we try to come up with good laws then for make them opposition party there responsible, you know, because you don't see any act of responsibility on their part. So, but if we say let we eliminate them, because we figure say the other party there, you know, and I think I will be very surprised. I would like to know Mr. Sandinian political parties with their position. Are they being bribed? I would like to know Ms. Cole, you know, Claudius Cole, political party. Is she being bribed or is the party being bribed? So some of them might not be what you suspect them to be. But if the law allows them to exist, let's don't try to encourage the big ones to kill them, because you know the big ones, they want to kill them for their own selfish purpose. And it's not advantageous because we don't see, say in the past, they've played, their presence to play a role, going as far back as Timu Bangura and Tem. Now we didn't throw in support here or there. Even with this kind of power. Now which has Magai make it and train support. So they do have a powerful role to play. It's all I'm saying, you know. And that may have been the same thing for the 2023 elections, if it be go that way there. You know, that's maybe a small political party will have had to be dependent upon for make the difference. So, but again, reasonable minds can differ. So this is just what you are saying makes a lot of sense. That's why free speech is important. That's why debate is important. That's why discussions are important. So because we all not get the same view, you know, about certain things, but we all get, most of us, I'm not going to say we all, will get the best of intention, sincerity of purpose, with the thinking in terms of what is good for the country. At the end of it all, I mean, what these guys fail to realize, I mean, everybody will die at some point or time. So I don't know why these guys think they're going to be in this life for the rest of their life. I don't understand why people don't think that way. So when they give one this rare opportunity for rule the rest of the people entrust the future on our hands. But I just can't take it for granted, say, oh, okay, when you are stupid, we are here for ourselves. And some of them bad laws, they move in the past, like one term in Parliament, you get only one time in Parliament, it qualifies you for pension, for life, all the things. These are terrible. They are not in the interest of the country at all. But, so, and then if you don't serve 2 terms in Parliament, you can even afford to say, okay, I don't achieve my goal, I don't get two winnings in the parliament, therefore, now my future is set. All them bad laws there, so the people who propose that, they, say not to the country, they need to look out for, and themselves they look out for. So these are some of the things. So I look at it holistically. What is good for our country? What can we do to move forward? What can we do that will prevent some of them repetitious practices here of bad governance? What would you see time and time again? And then the courts is being given almost no role to participate here. Again, like I said, I understand because people don't think it makes that much difference that the presidency controls the judiciary. But now when we get for faith for make sure say we discourage that practice there. Bring as many cases in court. If the judge then want to make a mockery of themselves, a mockery of justice, by just rubber stamping which in the government intend, so be it. That's all we have at the moment. History will judge them. But now we're giving them a pass and we're giving them excuses where they not deserve. These are some of the things they want me to talk about numbers for say we really need for do better than we're doing. So back to you, Mr. Mengot. I just want to comment on Mr. Mustafa in comment. Yeah, I see Figo say it's useless to even encourage the other part, but it's not the country will go hurt, not to them political party. Let me read one comment and then you can take it over. Let us take, for example, if the SLPP was in opposition and Edmund Alpha did such conduct, I don't think that they would agree to his approval. Of course they will not. I mean, that was clearly displayed by the SLPP when they were in opposition, when things were just not even bad to this extent. That's true. But that's the reason why we try to prevent this vicious cycle. The other people will not have. In fact, they probably will have raising more hell because of that. So nobody is saying APC should go along, but we get to respect the law. If the president say in comply with the law, they will find a way of getting the court system. They will find a way of, and if the new ECSL Commissioners say you want to meet with the opposition, meet with them. Find out what they have to talk about, what they have to say. If the president say you want to meet with them, meet with them. So that's all I'm saying. But we cannot just say we know for meet with them at all and then give the president an ultimatum, which I don't think is that smart. But again, I don't want to get into that. Because if he's appointed somebody and he's saying according to law, you can't just tell the president, say, cast aside, we don't want that person there. I don't think that the president and the wants it, but they can probably negotiate the whole thing. But my thing is meet with Mr. This new ECSL Commissioner, opposition. Meet with him, see what he has to say. You don't have to go along. The president wants to talk about it, meet with him. And I want your job for inform the public what the meetings are about and not for be secret, To you, Mr. Mengot.
Yes, okay, sir. Thank you very much. Now, just one thing for correction. I think probably that might be a slip of tongue on your part. When it comes to remuneration for MPs, then, when you serve one term, if you not count the next term, you get a golden handshake of $50,000. Now, only when you serve two terms, according to the Parliamentary Act and compensation, you get 80% of your salary for life.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the thing. But even at that, for a country like us, resource-starved, these are some of the things we'll get for look at. Now, make sure some of the MPs, them, not to take we, the citizens, seriously. Because then they go there for go get a safety net. Because we don't have 2 or 3 child, they sit down with the get salary. Regardless of your age. But now, Lord, look at what they happened this week. Parliament was supposed to go back this week. Lord, look at the constitutional amendment. You see, because the other side, if they say they're not going to go Parliament, then presidential spokesman will erroneously say during an interview, say, if they not go, then ECSL can replace them with other political parties. Then a big misinformation on the part of the presidential spokesman. But now look what happened come forward on the constitutional amendment bill. I will talk about that, then I will talk about the census again, before we go to the next topic. The constitutional amendment bill, we don't get the privilege. Without privilege, then the people then go vent some of them talk about issues of concern. Then we get the first reading. The first reading, where me say Parliament for continue the discussion. For God's sake, from what me know, me knowledge, anytime where you do a first reading in Parliament, immediately then they announce when will they get the second reading. That has never been done. So if Parliament come back, does it mean the SLPP as the only party in Parliament with the Paramount Chief will continue the discussion with this debate for the constitutional amendment? Then, members say, coalition of civil society, they may not ask Parliament for give the telephone contact of all MPs them, because now the same Parliament been announced say people them for send position paper. Although the position paper on the issues them that to the Parliamentary Legislative Committee for go to, but people that need for contact the MPs. This is something which I don't think say for be secret. If you're a public servant, we know say boku MPs then get more than 2 phones or phone number. You can create one number when for your constituents. Even if you allow them for let them left voice note to you, let them get away for contact you. Coalition of civil society, we see recently, they don't say, then go to the right to access information commissioner. For let it make sure say then get contact number for their MPs then they. And we get a law for that way say if they contact them people then they, who are them people then they get for contact? Now Parliament they get for contact. And Parliament for tell we why we not for able get access, even if they don't get telephone number. I believe say each MP forget a parliamentary email if you don't get private email. In fact, it's so sad that even the parliamentary website is not up and running. I don't complain about that so many times. So where do we go from here when it comes to access to parliamentarians and how we discuss this issue for the constitutional amendment? Because the second reading, now the term that way, parliamentarians for examine the bill and look at clause by clause and vote. So any clause we not get 2/3 majority should be thrown out. Now that we go see the sincerity. If the MPs they don't say they don't want PR system, when that time they come to Parliament for votes, let's see if they not MPs, the Paramount Chief, let's see if they go actually vote against them. Because the Paramount Chief they not vote for that, it means there won't be any 2/3 majority. So that section of the bill would be thrown out. And then finally, the last thing now on this issue of census. Because APC they complain about that. But what is the purpose of this census? Already until we say census, not for election purpose only. But look the recommendation. It ain't the parliamentary bill. Then a recommendation 38, we say the constitution, for amend the constitution so that the proviso to section 38(4) to be amended so that only data from decennial census to be used for electoral purposes. And then B, therefore insert say, where the final report of the decennial census is published at or less than 24 months before a general election, the data collected from that census should not be used for delimiting boundaries. So in other words, this census will they collect in 2026, it's not useful for election purposes because you can't use them for boundary delimitation. So technically, we are going back to the PR system where people do not want. So we are in for a long ride. So these are some of the issues we're talking about, and this is my view, where I think say the APC party, for make sure say, even the leader of the APC party, let it write now to the Speaker of Parliament, ask him for say, if he willing, for let them form that committee there, when a standing committee, when a then go be chair that committee for let continue the parliamentary process for amend the bill. Because it is not something we will just sell through. So let's stop there. Let's see if you get anything. So we'll go to part 2 of our discussion.
Okay.
So I want you to take on the...
Go ahead, sorry.
I think, yeah, there are some other comments. Let me read that comment, then it's over to you.
Okay. Oh, this person is saying, sirs, the last speaker is saying the right thing. All these parties have declared for the ruling party. So whatever the ruling party says, they are in support. Please, let's put the interest of I guess of the country. Well, nobody's disputing, I'm not taking issue with the last caller that he was wrong. Factually, I think he's right. But I'm talking about the chilling effect, the adverse effect we will get on the country by making it a policy or the law that not only 2 political parties will get in the country, by excluding them parties then they are not making, not trying, because of what you think say the reality on the grounds is, because nobody stops the opposition of themselves having smaller parties. I mean, well-meaning opposition. I make a cite Claudius Cole, maybe when I get a factual basis for say she too supported, because I don't know which parties out of the 14, according to what my colleagues say, my co-host, he say the government say 12 are in support. Then support them. So, well, for a transparency purpose, it would be nice to know who these 12 parties are. Because then we can invite them to shows like this. And if they don't come, we can bring up the idea for say, well, they were invited, for can't defend themselves, but they don't come. So the record shows that they support some of them things here. But really say on a larger scale, it is not in the best interest of the country for sidetrack the rest of the smaller parties, because we don't see the role where small parties then play from charismatic term, to even as late as the election in which we end up getting Charles Maga and others participating in. So, well, in fact, so smaller parties are important. They play a role. That's all I'm saying. So we not make decisions based upon we emotional reaction to situations. If we want to make good laws, what would they talk about bribery? We can put in our legislation. Parliament should be able to do that. That bribery for parliamentarians should be unlawful. Government should not bribe parliamentarians. People enough for parliamentarians, enough for take bribe, because that's what the law is all about. But so, nothing is going to work for us unless we sit down, we talk, and we try to put them into practice and find ways, and knowing full well that whatever law we write, there will be people who could violate them. How to deal with those people without taking their fundamental rights away from them, So there are a lot of things we get for doing here. So, unfortunately, we're not getting enough time to address all into there. But the point is well taken. So I don't want anybody to feel that I'm saying or I don't see what the caller was saying. I do. I don't want anybody to say I'm saying the caller was wrong. No, but I'm saying you have to look at the bigger picture. The bigger picture is a disservice to the country when you get the two big one, the big two, for present themselves as being the only opposition of the country. That's what I'm saying. So back to you, Mr. Mingo, because we'll be running. We got other issues that we want to deal with. So we want to be.
My only conclusion is that when we talk about smaller parties, I can say, first of all, they may list all the 12 parties them where we support the president. Off-air, I know say REFP been there, the REF party been there, UDM been there, and all them party. The only other party where I feel say I not see the name, we're probably in the side with the APC we oppose. It could be Unity Party with Femi Claudius Cole. But the point is, myself also stressed the need for smaller political parties in a government for nurture them. That is what the PPLC is supposed to do. Not for just sit down, they bring punitive measures them. And especially one of the things that we want to talk about, the last one at the recommendation, where I just want Rob Motspan, before we go away, a very important recommendation. Where down there, self, now, down the way, at least, it cause problem. Then I think so we'll continue down there, but I'll mention, I need for mention that, now recommendation 39 of the report, where it talk about the Cyber Security and Crime Act. Because it said, consider aligning the definition of Section 2 of the 2021 Cyber Security and Crime Act with regional and international instruments, and in particular, to review the definitions of the following: cyber terrorism, cyber stalking, cyber bullying, incendiary information. And I feel to say that one of the laws that down there, where they be used for charge Zainab Sharif, that with incitement. So down there, at least we will probably continue for look at that particular act during our next session. Because now then they use them not only for stifle political discussion, but also even individual private citizens there now. Because I remember somebody who been there where been go take pictures of traffic police there where been a bribe, take bribe, CID been call them and say na cyberbullying.
That is ridiculous. So really ridiculous. You know?
So these are the sort of things. So I don't know if you are more than that small. Now say we'll continue that cyber law day, and we'll look at international instruments for them in our next program. Because if we start now, we're not able to go now to the second part of the program.
Precisely,
so, yeah. Okay, now, fumble them. Then we go back on this second part of the program, where now this issue of border management, border control, border security. We all see, say, the Mano River Union. Let's start with the Mano River Union. Because I should say, beaucoup people them, they don't know, they not be aware about this Mano River Union, waiting it been stand for. You know, the Mano River Union where it been start, it been actually start between an agreement between President Tolbert and Shaka Stevens in the 70s. And it starts between Sierra Leone and Liberia. And then when you look at things to do with trade facilitation, common customs union, and tariff. But as time goes on in the 1980s, Guinea joined. We make the third member of the Mano River Union. And then later on, we get Cote d'Ivoire. So Mano River Union, the secretariat this alone, and then get rotational leadership. But now we don't hear about this issue where it now be like a dormant union, because when you form that sub-region there, for let the union function, you get support, both financial and technical support from the member states. Because 2 of the states are French speaking, the other 2 are English speaking, in Liberia and Sierra Leone. So we don't hear this draw. Well, first of all, the Mano River Union been done to look at this border. Because we'll give the history of we border in Salon. Because we border them was set by international partners. Liberia been get the first agreement with the French for Guinea. And then at the disputed area now, when at that Makona River, when in 1907 they get a treaty there. And that river they will call River Moa. So there was an agreement between Guinea and Liberia. So the river now divide the 2 countries them. And further down, there's a section of that river there where the 3 countries they meet. Salon, Guinea, and Liberia. And what's in the agreement? That section of water, the lead state, na Guinea, because it originates from the islands, na Guinea. But according to the treaty, they forget shared access to the resources of the river when like fishing and like waiting Liberia when they do sign mining or any economic activity. So Guinea not going to do anything without consulting Liberia. Liberia not going to do anything without consulting Guinea. But we and Guinea, most of the side where they get problem, now the land border. The younger one we're still there on. The recent one Falaba with Farina Dugu. And where the MRU, we don't get a conference last year in June. When I say we forget joint committees them for monitor the boundary and also forget boundary demarcation. For God's sake, we don't use geomapping under the same president for do Usawi Minerals Day. There was a report on that. Forget minerals na Salon. We do geomapping. We also do geomapping and cartographic survey for elections purposes. How come since last year we will get agreement with the other country then? For we get joint exercise for do geomapping for establish with border. We not do until today. So who should we blame? Is it to individual governments or the Mano River Union where they can now say then they can intervene? Because the meeting will get at Guinea with Liberia, all then they say, let's settle the matter with diplomatic means. But immediately after that meeting, we see Guinea, they mobilize their troops for going at the boundary. We also see Liberia say they mobilize their troops. So how do we solve this problem? Because there's ways, there are procedures, there's protocol, which I go on for let we talk now based on my experience working on border management issues within the ECOWAS region. Over to you, sir.
Well, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, this is the thing that caught my attention when they talk about the 3 presidents they meet. I think last week we did talk about with minister or foreign minister, said he was invited to some top level meeting with the foreign minister of Guinea. Now we see where the three presidents met concerning the same issues. And this is not any new issue. This is an issue we will get for years, for at least 2 or more decades, over 20 years. So, I mean, I don't know whether we're doing this just for the fanfare, for just give people the illusion of something being done, when in actuality and reality, nothing is being done. Because this is to me borders on irresponsibility. There are people affected. We're not talking about just a piece of land at an area here. This dispute here involves people in different ways. Number one, it involves people like the security people or the soldiers. These are actual people with family. And they are armed. So any misjudgment or any misapplication of what any side belief can lead to loss of life. That's one thing. So we policymakers have to take that into account, that even if we lose one life over that, it's unfair to the soldiers on both sides when we could prevent this. Such a thing is foreseeable and avoidable. And we're doing nothing about it. The other lives are the lives of the people who live in the localities or in the areas. And then a clash between the security forces could lead to the loss of innocent lives, just the inhabitants in the area. And with the area situation, such as the Guinean troops can come, they can drape the people in, they can take advantage of them, they can take the land away from them. So if you're not somewhere in that area, the saloon side, and you don't you crops them, then some soldiers in the can check and say, get out of here. So if we think in terms of how that they affect their lives, and these are very extremely poor and deprived people. They're deprived of so many things. So I think government should show more concern. It should not be all about them, about the presidents they meet. I mean, I don't think this is the kind of thing the president for the meet. Anyway, that's why they have their foreign ministers or other people. But these are matters that are easily solvable in the sense that, as Mr. Mengot claimed or says, the foreign offices, the foreign colonial offices have clear records of the demarcations, the line that will separate we. So what we should be doing is for improve watching the colonial masters and left way, because we don't know how many more other than the demarcations or the line they will separate we are what other rights that were not addressed. The last week we talk about the word buffer, a space what could be arm-free, a space that will not be considered a violation if any of the security forces on either side happen for step upon, but a space where we also know, say, beneath that space there are minerals, or there may be, or there could be minerals. So how do we address that in the unforeseeable future and the foreseeable future, that if something like that were to arise, that neutral space, they get some minerals that are of interest to both sides, and that particular location there has been declared a buffer, which means it belongs to both sides. Then we have to work out some modalities how we should be able to exploit the minerals or the wealth of that location to the benefit of the two countries. These are things maybe the white people never addressed, but that doesn't mean we should not address it. That doesn't mean we should wait till become an issue that may lead to loss of life. So to me, is that act of irresponsibility that concerns me. And these people, our governments should know that they are not elected there to just go there and have fun. Now, for take care of them here, I'm tired of trying to blame the colonial masters. They did the best they could. They left with very good infrastructure, no matter what you say the intentions will be, and we are not doing any better. So we should be talking about this, but people's lives are affected in that area, and the government is going to go on and on and on. So it's time for it to be dealt with. I don't think it will be president's meeting and begin broadcast about the three presidents. The three presidents, they didn't have to. It's not called for presidential meetings. Not just a show, na publicity, then president here and the gates. That's all it is. So back to you, Mr. Mengot.
Okay, sir. Whatever we get for do, we talk about the Mano River Union. One of the things will be interesting, if you remember, we foreign minister been talk say that for revitalize the Mano River Union. We comment on them. Now we last broadcast. Interestingly enough, the Mano River Union, na Salon day, because originally when it was set up, it was between Salon and Liberia, and the protocol be agreed say the headquarters for this Salon. Now let's look at the way forward. When that meeting when they arranged in June, they may get 3 committees there. And Salon will get a high-power delegation at that meeting. The time when they met, I think, in Kailang, because we get the lead agency in the Office of National Security, we get RSLAP when we army, we get police, we get local government, we get Minister of Internal Affairs, we get Minister of Information and Civil Information and Community Education or whatever. They all meet. They formed them 3 joint committees almost 1 year ago. And during that meeting there, they may ask all the governments them for bring documentation. So the first thing when they may ask them for do, and I think this Salon been present then documents and they, now all the treaties them from the original one they were talk about, on the Salon, Liberia, Guinea. Salon and Guinea, their own treaty that been in 1912 between the Anglo-French Treaty. Any day, they map the whole day, then give the coordinates. Liberia and Guinea, now the 1907 treaty. Then after that, we get treaties that will come up when a treaty for do with the Mano River Union. We get treaties. So they say that committee, they bring all the documentation in there. So it was to be work in progress. And the Mano River Union, as the sub-region, they may for them set up a project for monitor, then committee there, then for set a timeline, then for set a roadmap. The problem what they get, now when people like can go to their meeting and they, then go 3-4 days, they enjoy themselves, then come back, there's not a follow-up. And that is where Parliament comes in. Because as I reiterate, when the thing and they happen, there should be a report in Parliament. In fact, by now, Parliament get the right for set up a committee. If we don't get a joint border liaison standing committee in a Parliament. Because see parliamentarians when they complain. So now they don't for start first. The next, now the geomapping, what I don't talk about, we will for do jointly. Start from that side, they will look at the legal instruments. So when they do dispute resolution, you start at local level. Because the people are waiting at them boundary, then they speak the same language, then get the same culture, then they move between boundary. You don't get Babua, you don't get French. So there has to be some kind of coordination between the local leaders, the chiefs. Because remember, say, we are reminding them, say that chief bin go show the outside Salon boundary day, where be say the chief be wrong. If the 2 chiefs, them, they negotiate, so go no. And then it's very important for get that, what you call common control zone, or buffer zone, or demilitarized zone. Now go ease the tension. when are there you go solve the problem first at local level. And waiting that problem there at local level, waiting to cause the problem, now access to resources, whether na grazing land, if na river, fishing rights, or things for do with sand mining. So that's where you start. Then from them committee then they, by now if we don't get all the maps then they, the technical committee for don't meet, if we don't get the boundary them and agree the buffer zone, the demilitarized zone. So then zone then they, na zone where nobody no get claim to, na common zone where na local administration then they. Then after that now, we look at the treaties them. Because Sierra Leone and Guinea were all member states of ECOWAS, and we get the ECOWAS Supplementary Act on Joint Border Management. We do another big border them. Because on the Liberia side, we get border committees them, na Gendema, between Sierra Leone and Liberia. On the Guinea side, we get border committees them, na Balangwea, between Sierra Leone and Guinea. Who said the problem there? Now the unmanned borders them, the areas them. That is why we need them mapping here, the demarcation and the buffer zone. Until we do that, now the heads of state they don't go get meeting. When they come, they begin talk about, hey, we all are friends. We get common culture. We get look at trade, but at that level, they not today the problem they solve. The problem go solve first at local level. That's where you start. Between the community chiefs then. Then the agencies they were responsible for border control. In Sierra Leone, we've been getting a meeting in the Office of National Security. So for getting border committee, then for the meeting regularly. And my recommendation is that there should be a standing committee in Parliament. Right? And even you forget border commission, interministerial group on border control, when they report directly to the president. This is what you can give the chief minister if you not get work, let they do that. Because when they take border, the ministry is the way involved. Internal security. Because under internal security, now they custom, now they police, they under internal security. Right? You get Ministry of Local Government, then are for native administration. You get Ministry of Finance, then are for NRA, Customs and Excise. You get Ministry of Defense, then are for the soldier man them. You get Ministry of Health, then are for thing for do disease control, yeah, transmission of, then you get Ministry of Agriculture. So we going to create that interministerial committee on border management, administration, and monitoring. And that in its interministerial, you get forget terms of reference, you get forget chain of command, lines of communication. Then you get a technical group. That technical group there, where they report to the interministerial committee there, and then for they look at the issues then where they deal with buffer zones, boundary limitations, and application of legal instrument. And if there's any bilateral or multilateral treaties them or protocols which have not been endorsed or served, now forget a way for let go through Parliament and also let be endorsed first by Mano River Union, supported by ECOWAS and the African Union. That is the way of solving this problem. There's a lot of work to do, not only for the president and normal for just go sit down and talk and give pleasantry. We have to set up this interministerial committee. We have to set up the technical support group where for they work with the MRU. Then we have to get the parliamentary standing committee on border management, security, and regional integration. This is based on my experience working in other borders in the ECOWAS region. The one between Cotonou and Lagos, the one between Lomé and Accra, and the one between Burkina Faso and Togo, within a Malampil. Over to you, sir. I don't know what's in your comments.
I
I'm
don't
your free
think-
advice. I don't do so.
Oh, yeah. Now, I don't think I have any more advice in that respect, because I think you made the point as clear as possible. So, but it just strikes me as the government not seem for the take. Then they and this showmanship, always talking about meeting and delegation and traveling. But they need for take things serious. They need for do the due diligence. They need for start accomplishing results. Not for just always tell we about the president, they meet, the foreign ministers, they meet, there was a conference here, there was a conference there. They need for solve problems, because like I say, people's lives are being affected. So that's all I have to say.
Well, I don't know if we get any more comments. We'll go and read. And we realize there has not been many calls, but probably we don't hit the 2-hour mark. And 2 hours for the issues them way we they talk about. Now, real interesting issue, as we say, now continuity. There's somebody is commenting there. If you can read that comment there for me.
Yeah, it says the Yenga issue should be taken to the International Court of Arbitration in the same court, I guess. So the same court. There's some misplacement here. That court solved the Bakassa Peninsula issue between Cameroon and Nigeria. That may be so, but it may not. It may be premature to take it to that court. It may not even be necessary, because unless we know unless there is conclusion or some kind, even if we go to arbitration at this point, it seems to me it's premature. I think it's just been negligence of duty, and that has been a problem, because to me understanding, like the Yenga situation became more pronounced after the war. Before the war, we didn't have any much of a problem. And Mr. Mengot can correct me on that. And after the war, when Salon troops them, and they allow the Guineans them for come the area there for help with some problem. After that, the Guinean soldiers refused to go back and just treat the place like a Guinean territory. That's my understanding. So I don't think, but arbitration is a step. So you can get arbitration, then they can get hearings after arbitration. But they need to be working on it. This thing for last another 20 years. And I think these people should take it seriously. There's another call. There is a caller. Please, let me take a call. Yes, hello, caller. What's your name? Where are you call from?
Hello?
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 Yeah, please go ahead. We can hear you.
Yes, sir. This is Mr. Williams from United States.
Hello,
United
Mr. Williams.
States.
Okay, Mr. Williams, nice
Hello,
hearing from you.
Hello, Mr. Mengot and Mr. Shillon. Especially
Thank you.
Mr. Shillon.
Hello,
I'm
sir.
saying a Muslim man. Happy Hindu Fitri or a caller.
Yes, yeah, Eid Fitri. Thank you, sir. I
Yes,
wish
sir.
you many happy returns.
Yes, sir. Mr. Mengo don't say all. Mr. Mengo don't say. He don't say everything. Mr. Mengo, you are the man way at least. A man like you, any government will take it. Now, you know, for be advised to her. Not to them joke and way around her. They give you advice constructively. You see how they explain yourself. If yourself, the chief minister, then bother issue here. Now in for the go, now for the do all the thing in it. Because it not gonna work for do, because if you can work for do, now then work out for be one of a work description. But because you don't gonna work for do, then nothing you run in mouth, any where we go. It will run in mouth. Any where we go, we get run in mouth. It doesn't like we create people like they push it. It Italian for saying operate. So Mr. Mengo, you don't say everything. I can always so much enjoy you conversation. Bio, I don't know what Bio wants. What kind of legacy one left where it go? But we don't want to say that my way is safe for right in biography. That man the like take trouble if you know that the right, you go challenge them. That book they go bafa. Trust me, trust social media. Shakimi Midua. He write small, look at a foolish book he may write. What life has taught me. But then that book they will put more panel. We get one nonsense, foolish professor. Where we go life for him. We make that book there banfa. It not sell at all. You see. So we won't be with the one number we write legacy. Legacy for bio. We don't want them. If you not write correctly, that book great. With the buffer man, you know go say. So now me don't want that. Thank you very much for the conversation. God bless you.
You're quite welcome. God bless you too. Thanks for calling. So it looked like we'd reached the end of the program. In fact, not only would I reach, would I pass. Time flies fast when you're having fun. So it's been a little bit over 2 hours since we started. So we thank our listeners then for calling, listening, making suggestions, stating an opinion. So we always appreciate our time because we know, see, at this very moment or on this very day, there are many other things you could have chosen to attend to, but you choose for listen to we. So we thank you very much. And we'll try for listen to now. And some of the issues there, now then the effects of the thing that we complain about now, so we may not get, because they are not as sensational, because they not get a lot of gossiping components, and they excite emotions, because not to, oh, you don't hear it, this is that, what they call. We understand that. But we own goal now for bring matters of national interest to the attention of the people. And so we hope we meet that goal there, and we will continue to keep up to that goal day. Until then, I want to say good night to Ona. So, Mr. Mengo, back to you.
Well, Famulem, just one last comment. That person we talk for say for go arbitration. ICJ na the last resort, as I say. Because even when you want to take case go ICJ, in a further exhaust bilateral agreements, regional agreements, and even the ECOWAS self, they say now unless in a don't exhaust all means of negotiation, now in a go ahead, then go ICJ as a last result. So there's still time. We don't set the mechanism for dispute resolution through the Mano River Union. So let's exploit it. Let's look at what we would agree. And we'll come back for updating and this program as to what the MRU they do. So with that, I got to say thank you very much. We na Fulatong man. We don't celebrate Eid. So I look forward to the other celebration where na the Easter for the Christian side of where they don't done the 40 days of fasting. Don't the way we fast. Allow make sure say we to pray God for Allah, pray for Salon, and continue for hope say God go now will lead us the heart like we they all long go pray this past Friday in a mosque. So when they will go pray in a church again, let God answer our prayer so we will able to do something for our people then. So until we meet next week, now me they say Tata from Surrey in the UK.